Om Namo Bhagavate
Recording is
Vasudevaya.
on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1. What's the name of the chapter? Anyone?
Observing the armies.
Sainya Nirikshan.
Senya Nirikshana Yoga. Observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So we have read a few verses so far. Can someone guide me where we are at the moment? Which verse?
1.12. 1.12.
Okay. So what was 1.11?
1.11, I think, was a supporting verse of 1.10
It was
about telling the others to support
Bhishma.
Bhishma Pitama.
Okay. So do you remember what was discussed, Karan and Anu? I can't see you, unfortunately. Naisha? Can't see you guys at all. Can you highlight what was discussed in 1.11? Don't know whether they're able to hear me. So Karan and Anu and Naisha, I'm not able to hear you. I think we have lost you. No problem. Hare Krishna, Manish ji. Yes, Monisha, Vishal. Would you like to tell me what was discussed in 1.11? Okay. I can't hear Vikas. I can't hear Monisha. All right. Someone else would like to tell me? Manish ji, would you like to tell us what we discussed in 1.11?
Sorry, don't remember right now.
Okay, no problem. Can anyone?
I can try.
Okay, Kalpesh, yes, go for it.
So basically, Duryodhan, he is actually, uh, telling everyone to, give full support to Bhishma Pitama. And he, uh, yes, because I think in a previous verse, he's saying that, that Bhishma Pitama's uh, uh, his skills or his motivation level, either of the two or both, are immeasurable, in the sense that they are he's unsure whether that is enough for him to win the war.
So, was it his
So
skills or was it his motivation?
I think both.
Okay. Can anyone else highlight whether it is correct, whether his skills were immeasurable or the motivation?
I think the motivation more
More
because
Yes.
he did not
he did not
want to have this
have
war.
for
So
so
Duryodhan was,
Duryodhan was,
although he's praising Bhishma,
although he's praising,
he is also sort of saying immeasurable as in aparyaptam, in the sense the other way as well, that it may not be enough. But so he's telling the others to support Bhishma Pitama in 1.11.
So, immeasurable. What is immeasurable? His skills.
His skills and his, yeah.
So, is he saying his skills?
So, not only his, but the whole side, Kaurava side, I think.
Okay.
Saying that,
So, when he talks about Bhishma, he's saying his skills are immeasurable,
Oh, sorry.
although
He's
his
saying,
skills are not inadequate.
Inadequate. Yeah, yeah.
Inadequate.
That's what.
So he's saying they are not inadequate. Skills are not inadequate. So his
So
words
his
are very,
words
yeah,
are very, yeah, yeah.
I'm able to hear
I'm
myself
able to
again.
heir myself again.
Naisha, I
Naisha,
think
I think
there is
there is
some
some
issue at
issue
your
at
end.
your end.
You might have
You might
to
have
mute
to mute
your.
your.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Is Naisha, is anyone sitting very close
Very close
to
to
you, that
you that
because every
because
time you
every time you
unmute there is a
unmute,
lot of
there is a lot of
echo there. Now it's
now
good.
it's good.
No one is
So
sitting
So
maybe
close.
maybe
you are sitting
you are
in
sitting in
some
some
place
place
where
where
Okay,
like
I'll try my headphone again. How's that? Is it better now?
yeah, now it is better. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay,
better, better. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
okay.
So he had two things to say. Basically, Duryodhan is trying to say two things. One is that Bhishma is skills are immeasurable. He has enormous strength and amazing skills. Anyone knows why? Why Bhishma's skills were um, very good or at a very high level? Anyone?
It's on mute.
Well, he was a
Because
disciple of Parshurama, I think.
Very nice. So the first thing, he was the disciple of his guru was Parashuram. Who's Parashuram?
Um, Shivji's disciple, Shivji's Bhakt, Shiva's Bhakt
Okay.
maybe.
Anyone knows who's Parashuram?
Ram was
I think Parshuram
Warrior.
defeated
Sorry.
Kshatriyas like 21 times.
Hmm.
Okay. Yes, that is his pastime. But what is his identification?
He was a sage, right? So,
Okay.
He was a Brahmin as well.
He's one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu.
Oh yes.
yeah.
So one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu is Parashuram. His name is Ram. Parashu is because he carries the weapon,
Okay.
which is Parashu. That is why he's called Parashuram. That's a prefix given to him because of his weapon. His father's name was Jamadagni Rishi. Though he was born in a Brahmana's house, but he is incarnation of Lord Vishnu. And he had amazing skills, amazing warrior skills. So his pastime is different. We'll discuss some other time. But Bhishma, coming back to Bhishma, Bhishma was the disciple of Parashuram. Anyone knows who else was the disciple of Parashuram who was a part of Mahabharata
Karna.
war?
Is it
Karna.
Karna?
Correct.
Karna. Yes, Karna. So Karna and Bhishma, they both were god brothers. They were like colleagues.
Guru brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when two people have same guru, they are called god brothers.
Okay.
When they are disciples of same guru, they are called god brothers in English.
Okay.
But they were the disciples of the same, or Shishya. So Guru Bhai, as we call them.
Mhm.
So they were colleagues. So that was one of, so when you have generally the friction is not among a subordinate or a senior. Generally the friction is between peers. That's why even in corporate, the the biggest amount of pressure you might get is the peer pressure, not a subordinate or a senior pressure. That can be handled, but peer pressure is difficult to handle. See, the management theories also talk about peer pressure more than anything else. If you're able to handle peer pressure, you're better successful than a person who can't, generally, which Karna could not handle. That's why he was unsuccessful. He could not handle the peer pressure. And his peer was Bhishma. And Bhishma ranked him low, always. There were reasons. Of course, his credentials were not good, which we have discussed in our previous discussions. So Bhishma and Karna, they were peers. Bhishma was a disciple of Parashuram, yes, and he also had a boon which was given to him by his father. Question: who was Bhishma's father?
Shantanu.
Shantanu.
Who
Shantanu.
answered? Okay, who answered that?
Rohan.
Rohan.
Smita.
Rohan. Rohan. Nice. So Bhishma's father was Shantanu, and because Bhishma served his father so well that he even gave up his own desires for serving his father. His Pitra Bhakti was at an enormous level that Shantanu was he reciprocated with a boon which he gave it to Bhishma, that my son, you will die only when you want to die. That was the boon given to Bhishma. So he had enormous skills, warrior skills given by his guru Parashuram, and he has also a boon given that he will die only when he wants to die. That means he had literally the life in his hand, that he cannot die until he wants it. So he was immeasurable. Of course, he was immeasurable. Top class skills in warriorship and a boon that he cannot die unless he wants to. Who wouldn't want such a soldier? That was Bhishma. So Duryodhan's immeasurable comment is not on his skills, not on his warriorship, not on his strength or on his physical uh, aspects. What is he worried about?
Desire to fight.
His desire, his motivation
Correct. Motivation is at which level?
It's quite low.
to kill the.
No. Motivation, our motivation is at which level? Okay, so how many levels do we have? How many layers do we have? We discussed this last time, right? So one level is a physical layer, which we think our body and senses. Next is the emotional level. So Arjun was hit by his emotion, which will be later. And the third level is your spiritual layer. So when we talk about motivation, motivation does not lie on the physical level. So even when you are trying to fix your physical problems, we have to raise above that level and think on the emotional level. That is on the mental level with the mind. So when you want to fix something, the higher level is addressed. Is it making sense? Okay. Albert Einstein's statement, hopefully this will make sense, that the problems can only be solved if they are addressed into a higher level of consciousness, not on the level they were raised on. So if a problem is physical, that can be fixed at a emotional and a mental level. If the problem is mental or emotional, it can be fixed at a spiritual level.
Sorry, come again, Anilji.
Yeah. So when you have a problem at a certain level, it can't be fixed, completely fixed at the same level. You have to raise above in the consciousness.
Okay.
Generally, most of the problems at the physical level can be fixed at the emotional level or the mental level because the root cause is that. Now, the reason why Duryodhan is addressing this is because he understands that although physically Bhishma is very strong and skillful in warriorship, but at emotional level, he's disturbed. He's not happy. So mentally, he may not be present. His mind may not be present. He may not be motivated through his mind to fight this battle. And that is the reason he tells other warriors that he may be inadequate in terms of his emotions. So you fulfill those drawbacks. That is 1.11. He may not need physical support, physical strength, but he may need emotional support.
Mental.
Okay. In this way, he's trying to address their motivation also. That he's hoping that the other warrior's motivation is as high as his own to fight against the Pandavas. Because there were certain warriors which at the time of the beginning of the war went back to
Pamba
chose
side.
chose to fight on the side of Pandavas. So the warriors which he has, he's making sure that their motivations are high. And that motivation is required to support Bhishma also. That is 1.11. Okay. So we'll move on to the next verse, which is 1.12.
Yes, that was-
Did we read this verse last time?
Yes.
1.12. Yeah. It's very straightforward that Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhan joy. So Bhishma blew his conch shell. What does that mean?
The start of the war.
Start of the war.
Exactly. Yes. So why Bhishma started that? Why Bhishma was the first one to blow the conch shell?
He
Why
was
not others?
he was the general. He was a commander in chief of the.
Yeah. Okay. But why is he so curious? Why is he so anxious?
He
The
wanted
battle start.
to be done and over with, if I'm
Very
not wrong.
nice. Very nice. Yes. So that also shows his anxiety. He can't wait. He wants to get this done quickly. Okay. So yes, this is the main aspect of 1.12, the anxiety of Bhishma. He wants to see what is the Lord's plan. Bhishma is also one of the 12 Mahajans. You can search what is a Mahajan. Mahajan is someone who knows, who is connected, who is in yoga with the Lord. He, he is a pure devotee of the Lord. So Bhishma knows that this war will be one-sided. He knows it already. But he wants to see what Krishna's desire is. How does he want it? He wants to see that as soon as possible. That is his anxiety. He wants to see the pastime of the Lord, pastime of Krishna. So that is 1.12. So we'll read 1.13 now. Everyone on that page? 1.13. Yes?
Yes.
I have sent a link in the group chat.
Okay.
but that's on chapter 1. So you can go to chapter 1 and slok 13.
Is everyone on the same page?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll read 1.13. ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च
ततः शङ्काश्च भैर्यश्च
पनवानकागोमुखः
मुखः
मुखः
सहस्रैवाभ्यहन्यत
सहस्रैवाभयहन्यन्त
सहस्रैवाभ्यहन्यत
सशब्दस्तु मूलोऽभवत्
सशब्दस्तु
सशब्दस्तु
मूलो
मूलो
भव
अभवत्
ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च
ततः
ततः शङ्काश्च
शङ्खाश्च
भैर्यश्च
भैरश्च
पणवानकगोमुखाः
पन्वानकगोमुखः
सहस्रैवाभ्यहन्यन्त
सहस्रैवाभयहन्यन्त
सहस्रैवाभ्यहन्त्य
सशब्दस्तु मूलोऽभवत्
सशब्दस्तु
सशब्दस्तु मूलो
मूलो
अभवत्
अभवत्
ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च
ततः
ततः
शङ्काश्च
शङ्काश्च भैर्यश्च
भैरश्च
पणवानकगोमुखाः
पन्वानकगोमुखः
पन्वानकगोमुखा
सहस्रैवाभ्यहन्यन्त
सहसेवाभयन्यन्त
सहस्रैवाभ्यहन्त्य
सशब्दस्तु मूलोऽभवत्
सशब्दस्तु
सशब्दस्तु मूलो
मूलो
अभवत्
अभवत्
Can someone please read the translation loud and clear?
After that, the councils, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous.
So there was a lot of sound on the battlefield. Everyone started blowing their conch shells. Now, which side is this?
Kauravas.
Kauravas. So we have a few people here in our group. I think, I don't know if they're on break. I just can't see them. Jay is gone offline. Naisha is gone offline. Trupti has gone offline. And Hari Deyaha has joined, but I can't see him. Anyways,
Hello,
all right.
Anil. I don't know means, why my camera turned this way. I'm not getting it.
That's all right. That's all right. Trupti. As far as you turn your camera on, it means that you are attentive and in the group.
Yes, yes, I am. But yeah, how to do this?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
That's all
fixing
right.
it.
That's all right. That's all right, Pratik. No problem.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
generally, people who are on audio, I believe the other side is that either they are not there or roaming around. Sorry. So since we are engrossed in this, I would like everyone to hear it nicely. That's all. Thank you. So these were all the Kauravas who were just sounding so, you know, so high, you know, and Duryodhan was very happy to hear all these sounds. It was giving him joy. So we'll read the next verse 1.14. This verse is very important in Bhagavad Gita because this is the entry of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. He doesn't start speaking in this verse though, but he enters in Bhagavad Gita. So 1.14, please mark this verse, is a grand entry of Krishna with Arjun. So We'll read this verse. Generally, the chariots which are used have um, two horses, but this one is a special chariot, special ratha, which has four horses, four white horses. So this was the chariot which Krishna was drawing, and Arjun was at the back. So it was white horses, which will be also um, described in the verse. Please repeat after me. 1.14, 1.14. तत्तः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते
ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते
महति सयन्दने स्थितौ
Mahati
महती सयन्तने स्थितो
Sanayatane
माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव
Madhava
माधव
Pandavascha
पाण्डवश्च दिव्यौ
दिव्यौ शङ्खो प्रधत्तमु sorry दिव्यौ शङ्खो प्रधन्मतुः
Divya
दिव्यो
Divyo
शङ्खो
Shankho
प्रदद्मतु
Pradhatmatuhu
तत्तः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते
ततः
Tatashvete
श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते
Harayukte
महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ
महती
Mahati
सयन्दने
Sandhate
स्थितो
Sthitatu
माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव
Madhava
माधव पाण्डवश्च
Pandavascha
दिव्यौ शङ्खो प्रदद्मतुः
Divyo
दिव्यो शङ्खो
Shankho
प्रदद्मतु
Pradhatmatu
तत्तः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते
ततः
Tatashvete
श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते
Harayukte
महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ
महती
Mahati
सयन्दने
Sandhane
स्थितो
Sthitatu
माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव
माधव
Madhava
पाण्डवश्च
Pandavascha
दिव्यौ शङ्खो प्रदद्मतुः
Divyo
दिव्यो शङ्खो
Shankho
प्रदद्मतु
Pradhatmatu
So the translation is, on the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjun, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. So the Ratha here, which was which was a very very unique chariot. This Ratha was gifted or donated by Agni, the fire god, Agni, to Arjun. Agni had given him this Ratha. So, what is the position of Agni? Anyone?
pious
Very pious, very pure, and with the level or the hierarchy, I would say, Agni is the first demigod who comes in precedence when we try to address all the demigods. So if you see any yajna or havan, we have Agni, not because not just because that we want to, when we give any ahuti which will purify it, but also the fact is that Agni is the first demigod standing in line when we address all the other demigods. So when we give an ahuti, Agni opens the door for us to other demigods. So Agni, Vayu, Chandra, Surya, Indra, all these demigods, they are open for access by Agni until Vishnu. So when you see a Havana Kunda and Agni, it is not that your Ahuti is going down. No, the Ahuti is getting purified and getting an entrance to all the demigods. So it is going up to the level of Vishnu. So Agni, Chandra, Vayu, Indra, all these devatas are in next in line to reach Vishnu. So that is the position of Agni. So Agni, the fire god, he had donated this Ratha to Arjun, which he was drawing. So this is the understanding of this verse. And also the other important part is the transcendental, divya. So if you read the verse, the Shankhanad by the Kauravas was definitely tumultuous or high roars, but the Shankhanad by Arjun and Krishna was divya. So that is the word here in 1.14. And the verse, previous verse, it was tumulo. The word is tumulo. So shabdas tumulo. When that word is there, that means it is very high, tumultuous, sounded, you know, high roared. But Krishna and Arjun sounds are what? They are what they are
Divya.
divya,
Transcendental.
transcendental. What is the difference between these? So you have sounds and you have transcendental sounds. Yeah. So 1.13 is talking about the sounds or the roars, and the other one is transcendental sounds. So high pitch volume, yes, and the high pitch volume also, but it is transcendental. What is the difference? Yes, yes, Ritamvara Mataji.
Relevant to Krishna is everything is transcendental.
Very nice. Yes, yes. I'll share a slide with you. No, actually, it is in my hard disk, so no, I'll just explain it to you. So some people, they really like music. I mean, most of us like music, but some people like music which is like, high pitched music. I've seen many people. Some people start that high pitched music straight away in the morning itself. And they wake up and they have a high pitched music in their house. They just get that passion. They get that high kick. Some people like to hear these rock bands and these pop music and heavy rocks. Metals as they call it. They're really high pitched volumes. They give them joy. Okay, I'm not trying to judge anyone here, but just trying to give you that who likes these high pitch. The passionate people, the ignorant or the passionate people, they love such sounds, and that was Duryodhan. So if you read 1.12 verse, these sounds gave him joy. Yeah, I've seen people going to the shows, very high pitch rock shows and all. Though they may not understand what the other guy might be shouting, or singing, but they just enjoy. They're just jumping, just enjoying. In fact, some people ask them, "What is he singing?" They don't know what he's singing, but it's great. They just like that sound. It gives them joy. That was Duryodhan. That was Duryodhan.
Actually, the difference I can say that it's like that. I mean, the music which you hear like that, which is not spiritual, that you can listen only for few days or few years. After that, you get bored. And
Yeah,
this music is becoming bored. That is not transcendental. But the transcendental music, you can never be bored.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
anytime you can hear.
Very nicely said, Madhuri. Very nicely said. So transcendental, although it might be very high pitch, but it will not give you the mode of ignorance or passion. It will take you high, but it will take you high on a different level. And the problem with the people who like the high roars or the high pitch music, not the transcendental music, they will never like this transcendental music, unfortunately. So for some people, the transcendental music would be like really peaceful, even if it is high pitched. But for some, the high pitch rock music would be very soothing. They may not like the other music. And that completely depends on what kind of mode of nature you have. Yeah, you'll be able to connect with the sounds and will be able to be happy with the sounds by the way you are from inside. So the reason why I'm explaining this is because when Krishna and Arjun blew their conch shells, Duryodhan didn't enjoy, even though they were transcendental. Yeah. So I've seen people, who will be very happy when they are in a party where there is a lot of alcohol and there is a lot of music, which may be very high pitch, and they will be very happy, connected to everyone, just talking to everyone, and being so happy there and mixing around with everyone, very social. And the same person, you bring him to the temple, he will be sitting in the corner. Ask him to come in the front. I'm happy here. I don't want to. He can't relate. Even though the temple atmosphere might be very transcendental, but he can't connect. Why? And there we are people who would just love to be at that temple atmosphere. And as soon as you take them to that party, they may not be able to relate to anyone. They may be sitting in the corner. Unfortunately, those people are also called antisocial. यार ये socialize नहीं करता है. And ठीक आदमी नहीं है. Antisocial. He doesn't mix up. He doesn't drink. He doesn't, come in the party circle. He doesn't enjoy this high pitch music. What kind of a man? He doesn't love dogs. Oh my God. How rude. I love dogs, Although I may be eating chicken, that's fine. But I love dogs. You know. And I just go to these parties. I'm social. So it's how you are from inside. You'll connect. So this is portraying Duryodhan's character very clearly. And what character is he? He can only relate to the high pitched sounds, and that is giving him joy. But these transcendental sounds, vibrations, which will be described later in the next verse, they can only give joy to the devotees, to the people who have the nature for connecting to the Supreme, rather than just enjoying the high pitched music. Okay, so
Well
we'll
said,
go.
Prabhuji.
So we'll go into 1.15. So 1.15, 1.15. This verse actually speaks about the different names of the conch or the shankha, which different personalities are using. So we'll read this verse and then understand the different names of the shankha or the conch they were using, conch shells. 1.15. पाञ्चजन्यं ऋषिकेशो
Panchajanyam Rishikesho
Hrishikesho
देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः
Devadattam
Devadattananjaya
Dhananjaya
पौण्ड्रं दद्मो महाशङ्खम्
Pondram
Pondram
Dadmashashankam
Dadmashashankam
भीमकर्मावृकोदरः
Bhima
Bhimakarma
Vikodara
Vikodara
पाञ्चजन्यं ऋषिकेशो
Panchajanyam
Hrishikesho
Rishikesho
देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः
Devadattam
Devadattananjaya
Dhananjaya
पौण्ड्रं दद्मो महाशङ्खम्
Pondram
Pondram
Dadmashashankam
Dadmahashankham
भीमकर्मावृकोदरः
Bhimakarma
Bhima
Vikodara
Vikrodara
पाञ्चजन्यं ऋषिकेशो
Panchajanyam Rishikesho
Hrishikesho
देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः
Devadattam
Devadattam Dhananjaya
Dhananjaya
पौण्ड्रं दद्मो महाशङ्खम्
Pondram
Pondram
Dadmashashankam
Dadmahashankham
भीमकर्मावृकोदरः
Bhimakarma
Bhimakarma
Vikodara
Vikrodara
Okay, without reading the translation, would you like to try the names of different shankha or conch shells related to the personalities? Just reading, looking at the verse, don't look at the translation. Yes, Abhijit, go for it.
Yes,
First one.
Panchajanya is Lord Krishna's Shankh.
Sure. So Panchajanya Rishikesha. So it says Panchajanya Rishikesho. So Rishikesh is another name of Krishna. And Krishna was blowing the shankha, the conch shell, which is Panchajanya.
Panchajanya
Okay. Now Panchajanya is the name of the shankha which he was blowing. But what does Rishikesha means? No, Kalpesh and Avijit, not Kalpesh and Avijit, someone else.
So, what's your question, Prabhuji? Will you please repeat that?
What is the meaning of Rishikesha?
Rishikesh means who can control the senses, sense Rishikesh, that who controls the senses.
Anyone else would like to say that? What?
Rishikesh, maybe name of Arjun or
Who's speaking? Ah, okay, okay. I
Naisha.
can see. Yeah, yeah, okay. Yes, Naisha.
Is it a
Rishikesh
name
was
of
the okay. Rishikesh was not the name of Arjun. Rishikesh was the name of Krishna, another
Krishna?
name of Krishna. So, what
Okay.
is the meaning of Rishikesh? If nobody, I know all answers are not, then I will ask Kalpesh.
Have complete control over the senses.
Yes, who said that?
Smita.
Are you reading from the book?
No, I
Yeah.
think you said that. I think in the last.
Oh, did I? Okay, okay.
You made
Kalpesh,
a
would you like to?
reference.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Name, I
Good,
think.
good, good. Kalpesh, would you like to elaborate?
Is it master of senses?
Correct. The master or the real controller of the senses, the actual controller of the senses. Now, how could Krishna or Rishikesh be the real controller or the actual controller of the senses? Does it mean that we are not controller of our senses?
So
So we have to put.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes, Mataji.
somebody else is talking. Please,
Okay, who
after
else?
that, after
Yeah,
that person, I.
who would like? Who was saying
so
something?
so does
Yeah,
it mean
Manishi.
that from inside we are also part of Krishna? So we, in a way we are controlling our senses. So Krishna is controlling from inside.
Okay, yeah. Uh, I mean, the the thought process is right, but uh, if you put it logically, how are we controlling our senses?
So we also have. We always have to try to control our senses. Our senses are not in our control due to meditation, due to
Okay,
bhakti yoga, gyan
yeah,
yoga.
okay, yes, but I mean, in day-to-day life, aren't we controlling our hands, our movements, our eating? It's in our control, right? We can stop when we want. Yes. So are we not the controllers of the senses? Do you want to give a
Uh,
bit more thought?
we,
How?
we
Yes.
are we are sometimes not the controller of our desires. इच्छाओं
Desires.
इच्छाओं पे कंट्रोल नहीं होता है.
Okay. Desires. Yeah, that is one part. But how are the senses under the control of Krishna? Are we not the full controller of our senses?
Rishikesh means Krishna, right? And that means master of senses. So how can we be controlling our senses?
Okay, that is debatable. Yes, you're right. He is the master of senses, but that is statement. But practically, aren't we using our hands? Aren't we using our other senses to do things the way we want it?
But
Yes.
how can we control it? Like if we touch a hot thing, it will always feel hot.
Yeah. So
So
we remove it, right? So we controlled it,
yes,
isn't
but
it?
sense is still there. Like if we are
Yeah, yeah,
touching it,
yeah, yeah.
so
Agreed. The sense is there, and we are using our sense or controlling our sense to do something, right? Like, for example, we use our tongue to eat, taste, whenever we want it. Isn't that what we do? So, how is Krishna the supreme controller or the ultimate controller? The statement is right that Krishna is the controller, but just to understand how is he the supreme controller? Although we are also controlling our senses, using our senses the way we want it. Any thoughts? Yes. Anyone wants to add? Yes, Naisha, you want to say something?
Because he's complete God and we are being human.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. For understanding, I mean, yeah, for records, it sounds very good. But practically, how would you try to, uh, sink it in? How will you be convinced? Or how will you convince someone else? First, you convince yourself, of course. How are we convinced that Krishna is, or the Lord, Supreme Lord, is the controller, supreme controller of all our senses? Yes. Is everyone convinced Then we can go to the next verse.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I'm a bit confused here. So you mean
Okay,
to say Supreme God, He's controlling our senses, or are we not able to control our senses?
that's a
What do
question
you?
I'm asking you.
So that's the question. Yes,
Yes, are you controlling the senses, or is it the Lord controlling the senses?
I think we are controlling our senses because
Very
we are
nice.
free to
Yes.
do karmas, and even Lord can give us provide us path to follow, but karma is still in our
How are you
hand.
controlling the senses?
We can choose right or wrong.
I think
So
Okay.
she's right.
Okay.
We can choose where we want to go. If we want to touch the hot and cold, if we want to go to the bad side or the good
choice
side,
is ours. Yes.
so choices are ours. So that's why we are part and partial of Krishna. So we have got some freedom to uh, decide the our
That is the
selection.
choice. Okay. That is the freedom or the free will to do something.
Yeah,
What about
yeah.
the senses? We're talking about senses here. So tongue, what are the five senses we have?
Ear, tongue,
Yeah. Yeah.
Smell,
So
Ear
that
is the sound. Yes. Nose. Yes.
nose,
Correct, Karan. So smelling is a sense. So
speaking,
touching,
let's do one. So speaking, yeah, or tongue
tongue, yeah,
or taste
yeah.
taste,
The
is the
nose,
one. Nose.
and
Second
touching.
one, smelling, touching, skin.
yeah.
Yeah.
Eyes,
Eyes. Karan was saying fourth,
yeah.
and
ear,
fifth,
Ears,
ear.
hearing, ears. Yeah. So five senses. Yes.
Yeah, with the five senses we can practice the Krishna related things, like we can smell
Yeah.
Krishna's flowers, we can eat Krishna's prasadam, we can hear
Yes.
Krishna's bhajan, and we can remember Krishna every time. We have to use the five senses. So
But you can also smell something else. You can also eat something else.
yeah,
You can
so that's
also
not our
see some.
control.
No, what I'm saying is that means you have the control, right?
How to
You
control?
you can do something else also. Are you not the controller then? Wouldn't I think that I'm the controller?
So
Uh,
isn't
Yes.
that
Prabhuji, can I
action?
say something?
Who's that? Who's that?
Haridya.
Haridya, where are you?
Prabhuji, I'm driving back home.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay,
Yes.
you can
Yes.
speak. So we'll try to hear you. Okay.
Prabhuji, I think Krishna is not attached to anyone. That's why maybe he can control his senses.
Oh, his sense. No, I'm saying he's controlling our senses.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
isn't action different from senses? Like we can't touch, we can't eat.
Good point. Good
But
point,
that's an
Manishji.
action.
Action is different from the sense. That's a very good point. So karma is a different topic altogether. The action
Yes.
you do. We are talking about senses. Good. Yes. So bringing back to our point, senses. Yes.
So not drinking alcohol is an action, isn't it? So it's not controlling the sense.
That is a choice. So you
Yes.
can choose. That is called free will or ichha shakti. Whether you can drink or not, whether you can eat or not. But having said that, you eat also. That is also how much do you eat is also under your control, right?
But
Yes.
isn't that action? Like you're controlling your action?
Yes. So the sense, basically, sense which you have, that sense is given by Krishna to you. Only if it is available, you will be able to do something with it. So the understanding is that we do not know how or what happens when we eat. What all things happen inside? We really don't know. Yeah. We just do things. We act. So absolutely correct point, which Manishji and Mataji said, is that you do things, that is your choice, but you're able to do these things, that is Krishna's control.
Yes.
So we may be able to eat something, but sometimes it so happens that we don't get any taste because there is uh, a kind of a disease or something which is stuck on us and we can't taste anything.
Like an example, Prabhuji, Dhritarashtra in entire Mahabharata, when I was watching B.R. Chopra, so entire Mahabharata, he was saying that I'm blind person, so I can't see. So that sense is missing.
That is one thing, yes. But senses are provided. So, for example, if you have a certain disease like a jaundice, if you drink sweet in that, you'll taste bitter. You know. Yes, Manish ji.
But are you trying to say, like, if a king eats halwa every day, then he may not enjoy, or he can't use his sense of taste that much? Like, and if you give the halwa, same halwa, to a poor man, who will enjoy it more, and that enjoyment, that sense is coming from Krishna.
So, to understand this, you have to understand two aspects. That sense control, either you go objectively or subjectively. So, one is that I have a bad throat and I can't speak, so I can't have that control. That is objectively. And subjectively, to understand that yes, someone out there, someone is a supreme controller, and he is giving me this authority to use this in its actual form. So keeping myself out of disease, and giving me that sense. There are some people who can't breathe. They use some machines to make them breathe. They have certain kind of disease. So it is that certain kind of drawback they have, a disease they have, that if they go to sleep, they might die because they may not be able to breathe. So that machine has to function so that they keep breathing. So the sense is there, but there is a disconnection. So that provider is Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, what I understood is that, uh, like, it's just a simple example. When the person die and it's one person is dead, body is there. So person, all the senses are there. His eyes are there, his taste, his tongue is there, his ears are there, but he cannot use his senses because the ultimate the soul is not there, the dead body. So it's the dead body is not there, so who will enjoy that? Soul is not there, who will enjoy? Dead body can't enjoy anything. So although all the
So
parts of
that
the body
energy
is there,
definitely is, yeah, there. But
is it that
when,
way?
well, to
I'm not.
that is a little more deeper, Mataji. What you're saying is right, that the soul is everything. But that concept we can discuss in chapter 2 when Krishna talks about soul.
Okay, all right, that's
So
all
when
right.
we, yeah, so here what we are trying to understand is how is Rishikesha? Who is Rishikesha? When we say the supreme controller or the master of all our senses, who is he? He is the one who is allowing us to use our senses, who is giving us that, who's a source of all this. Yes, Kalpesh.
So probably a funny example. Uh, I so when someone feels like drinking alcohol, right? And say they go, they buy alcohol, they start drinking. So in this, you are trying to satisfy your sense of taste, right? So in this instance, uh, how the thing that you are trying to explain fits in here, like in terms of alcohol, for example, like who is satisfying what taste, like why we are getting that sense to drink alcohol in first place, right? And then uh, you know uh, then you actually drink the alcohol, you feel very nice sometimes you feel bad. So in that instance, how does this master of sense concept is fitting in this example, or is it the right example I'm giving in first place to
Yeah,
understand it?
very good point actually. Did everyone understand what he's trying to say? The question?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Okay. What Kalpesh is saying that when we drink alcohol and we enjoy it, if someone is drinking alcohol and he's enjoying it, who is giving him that taste? Is it Rishikesha? Correct?
I didn't want to ask directly. I was feeling a bit awkward.
No,
I was
no.
just
Ask
trying.
directly. Ask very directly. Is it correct? Is it the right question you
Yes,
asked me? Yeah.
yes,
So is it
yes.
Rishikesha who is giving the taste of alcohol? Yeah. If he is a supreme controller, is he the giver of that? Okay. So answer is yes and no. To explain it, so Krishna does not give you the whole and soul control, but he gives you the control based on your karma and kshetra. So control is very limited when it comes to the jiva or to us. Okay, but the kshetra can be more in terms of different jivas or different people. So, for example, if I am angry or any of one of us is angry, the damage we can do is very limited to the outside world, to someone. But if President of America is angry, he can do a lot of damage because he has nuclear weapons in his in his control. So his kshetra of control is more than us.
Mm,
Does it make sense?
mm,
And that kshetra is provided by Krishna based on the karma.
mm,
So you may be given the taste to enjoy alcohol. That is your kshetra, but that kshetra is given to you because of your past karma. The other thing with kshetra is that it has time limit. So you may be able to enjoy alcohol at a certain, of course, it is given by Krishna, that taste also, but it also has a limit. And because of this taste, if you drink too much alcohol, that may be bad for you. And you may contract a disease by which you may not be able to drink alcohol at all.
Like probably it's like that. I mean, free की दारू मिले तो हम पी लेते हैं, वरना हम नहीं पीते.
No, no, that is a different thing altogether. This
Okay.
is we're talking about you're getting the taste. Basically, your tongue is enjoying the taste of something which is not a among the regulative principle or is not ethical. You know, it is something which is not a norm. You know, for example, some people love to eat meat. They just love to eat meat. They just you know uh, the taste is like so. The same thing applies to them. Because of their kshetra, they've been allowed to do such things. Yeah, they've been given that area, they've been given that control. Okay, you enjoy because of your past karma, you're able to do this. That's why you're getting the taste. But there are people who are non-vegetarians, but they can't eat meat because that's going to cause them some problem. You know, they have certain deficiencies in their body that they are not allowed to eat meat. I have personally met one cancer patient who was hypnotized so that she does not eat meat because her body had been cut about 100 times because of the cancer spreading throughout her body, and she was forced not to eat meat. She used to love meat. She would love to eat meat, but she was not allowed. So her kshetra was controlled. So it may not be just that you're getting the taste, but there will be other areas which will be restricted. Does it make sense?
mm. Yeah.
So the control or the kshetra is being provided to you by Krishna. So Krishna does not control your free will. You have the choice to drink or not, but he controls the limit of your kshetra to utilize that particular resource. Does it make sense?
Yeah, but then why does he gives that kshetra to you in first place?
It is based on your karma you have done. So you have certain balance by which you have got this. And if you utilize in that way, you are losing your karma repository. So you may not be able to get it later. It has a starting and it has an end. Okay. Now, for example, someone made an investment, yeah, at A resource. Someone made an investment at B resource. Same amount of money, and they waited for 10 years. How does it happen that A gets a return of 200% and B only gets 5%? Based on his previous karma, he's been given a higher kshetra, and the other person has not. We'll discuss more this in detail in chapter 3 when we go to Karma Yoga. A very interesting topic. But this is how Rishikesha. Now, when he gives you that free will, when he gives you that free will, when he gives you that control, and if you choose, because you have a free will, you have a Ichha Shakti, if you choose to use that in the service of Krishna, then your kshetra multiplies. So it is said that Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate. So when we understand this, that this control is given by Krishna to us, by the Supreme to us, and we should use this in the service of His, then He provides you with bhakti. And with bhakti, you can control Krishna. Okay? How would you control Krishna? Is that when you desire something, that gets fulfilled. Okay? So, in short, Rishikesha is no one but the source or the master of all our senses. We have been given that control over our senses to do things by Krishna. Depending upon our previous karma, we have been given certain area to work our control in. Does this answer your question, Kalpesh?
Yeah.
So this is Rishikesha. We'll discuss about Dhananjay, but that will be next week. So the second Shankha was which one?
Devdatta.
Devadatta. So Devadatta was a Shankha of Dhananjaya. So
Ar-
Dhananjaya is no one else but Arjun. We will
Arjuna.
understand why Dhananjaya in our next week discussion. We're on 1.15 now. Okay. Any questions or comments? No? Okay. So we'll end our discussion here today. Thank you very much. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.